Namaskar. Today we will see third ventricle. Third ventricle is cavity of diencephalon. This is the diagrammatic representation of neural tube. Initially the neural tube shows three vesicles in the cranial part, the progencephalon, mesencephalon, rhombencephalon. They form the brain. Then the progencephalic vesicle give rise to two telencephalic vesicles. The telencephalic vesicles form the cerebral hemisphere, while the middle part is called as diencephalon. The diencephalon give rise to five structures: the thalamus, hypothalamus, subthalamus, metathalamus, and epithalamus. Let us see this diagram. This is the lateral ventricle. Lateral ventricle is cavity of cerebral hemisphere. There are two lateral ventricles, right and left. The lateral ventricle communicates with third ventricle through the interventricular foramen of Monro. The cavity of third ventricle is irregular in shape. It is median. It shows various recesses like optic recess, the infundibular recess, the pineal recess, and the suprapineal recess. The third ventricle communicates with fourth ventricle through the cerebral aqueduct or aqueduct of Sylvius. The cerebral aqueduct is cavity of midbrain. The third ventricle communicates rostrally or superiorly with lateral ventricle through the interventricular foramen of Monro, while caudally or inferiorly it communicates with fourth ventricle by the cerebral aqueduct. This is the medial surface of cerebral hemisphere. The most prominent structure on the medial surface is corpus callosum. There are three types of fibers in the white matter of cerebral hemisphere: the association fibers, commissural fibers, and projection fibers. Association fibers are limited to one cerebral hemisphere, while commissural fibers connects the two cerebral hemispheres, while the projection fiber connects the cerebral cortex with lower centers in the central nervous system. The corpus callosum is the largest commissural bundle. This is the corpus callosum. The parts of corpus callosum are rostrum, genu, body or trunk, and splenium. The inferior surface of the trunk or body of corpus callosum gives attachment to body of fornix, and the fibers of commissure of fornix cross in the body of fornix. From the body of fornix begins the column of fornix. The column of fornix is directed downwards, forwards, and slightly laterally. The rostrum of the corpus callosum gives attachment to a thin layer of grey matter called as lamina terminalis. The lamina terminalis represents the cranial end of the neural tube. Between the rostrum, genu, body or trunk of corpus callosum, and the column of fornix, this is the cavity of lateral ventricle, and this cavity is bounded medially by septum pellucidum. This cavity is bounded by the septum pellucidum. The lamina terminalis is attached below to the optic chiasma. This is the optic chiasma. This is the optic nerve, and the fibers from the nasal half of retina cross in the optic chiasma. Between the lamina terminalis and the optic chiasma lies the optic recess. Here is the optic recess. The lamina terminalis is the most cranial end of the neural tube. Below the column of fornix lies the thalamus. Thalamus is part of diencephalon. The anterior end of thalamus is narrow. It is called as tubercle. Between the anterior end of thalamus and the column of fornix lies the interventricular foramen or foramen of Monro. Through this foramen, lateral ventricle communicates with third ventricle. Now this is the medial surface of thalamus. There are two thalami, right and left, and their medial surfaces are connected by a band of gray matter called as interthalamic adhesion or connections. Extending from interventricular foramen to the upper end of cerebral aqueduct lies the hypothalamic sulcus. And this hypothalamic sulcus separates thalamus from the hypothalamus. Beginning from optic chiasma, we can see the stalk of the pituitary gland, stalk or infundibulum of the pituitary gland. This is the pituitary gland. Or hypophysis cerebri. It is suspended by the infundibulum, and the cavity of third ventricle extends into stalk of the pituitary gland. Then this is the tuber cinerea. In front of the crura cerebri of the midbrain lies the mammillary body. These are the crura cerebri of midbrain, and these are mammillary bodies. This is the stalk or infundibulum of pituitary gland. Between the two crura cerebri lies the posterior perforated substance. Here lies the posterior perforated substance. The central branches of posterior cerebral artery perforate this part of brain. This area is called as posterior perforated substance. The posterior end of thalamus is large. It is called as pulvinar, and below the splenium of the corpus callosum lies the pineal gland. The pineal gland is attached by means of two lamellae, the superior lamella and inferior lamella. This is the pineal gland. There are two lamellae, superior and inferior. Embedded in superior lamella lies habenular commissure, while embedded in inferior lamella lies posterior commissure. These are the commissure fibers. Now we will see the various parts of lateral ventricle. This is the column of fornix. Between the column of fornix and the thalamus, here lies the choroid fissure. Now we will see the various parts of the third ventricle. This is the lateral wall of the third ventricle. The lateral wall of third ventricle is formed by the medial surface of thalamus, hypothalamus, and by the subthalamus. The hypothalamic sulcus extends from the interventricular foramen of Monro to the cranial end of the cerebral aqueduct, and it separates the thalamus from the hypothalamus. This is the anterior wall of the third ventricle. It is formed by the lamina terminalis. Embedded in upper part of lamina terminalis lies anterior commissure, and below this wall is formed by the optic chiasma. Between the lamina terminalis and optic chiasma lies the optic recess. So lamina terminalis, anterior commissure, optic recess, and optic chiasma, they form the anterior wall. Now we will see the floor. This is the floor. From anterior to posterior side, this floor is formed by optic chiasma, the infundibulum of pituitary gland with the infundibular recess, the tuber cinereum, the mammillary body, posterior perforated substance, and the tegmentum of midbrain. Now we will see the posterior wall. The posterior wall is formed by the pineal gland. This is the pineal gland, which is suspended by two lamellae. Superior lamella consists of habenular commissure embedded in it, while the inferior lamella consists of posterior commissure embedded in it. So they form the posterior wall. Now we will see the roof of the third ventricle. These are the two thalami. This is the cavity of third ventricle. And the cavity of third ventricle is lined by ependyma. The roof of the third ventricle is formed by the ependyma stretching from upper end of the medial surface of one thalamus to the other thalamus. And above the roof, there is a double fold of pia mater, which is common for the third ventricle and the lateral ventricle. And this talachoroidy double fold of pia mater consists of choroid plexuses, and the two choroid plexuses projects in the roof of third ventricle. So these are the choroid plexuses.